din skönhet. Jag tillber din skönhet, dess djupa dramatiska gåtfullhet, dess otransakliga mörker och dess outgrundliga hemlighet, som måste trots allt mänskligt förstånd med sin ogripbarhets oantastlighet. Att jag dig älskar är för lite sagt, att jag dyrkar dig är ej till fyllest, men det att du dock är min vän är min salighet, som jag helst icke vill dela med någon, ty du ensam är min fullkomlighet. Mer kan ej sägas, ty ord är ej nog, ty din gåta är till för att ej kunna tydas, din tidlöshets skönhet är allt och ej nog. Your beauty, I adore your beauty, its dramatic and profound enigma, its unfathomable depth and darkness, and its undiscoverable secret, which defies all human sense and reason by its unviolable untouchability. That I love you is an understatement, that I adore you is not well enough, but that you are my friend is my beatitude, that I would rather never share with anyone, since you alone are my supremest consummation. More cannot be said, since words are not enough, since your enigma isn't for interpretation, your timelessness and beauty being all and not enough. Kärlekens förbannelse. Mina damer leder bara till bekymmer med att alltid råka illa ut, ej genom självförvållan eller slarv, men bara för att de är damer och som sådana så sårbara och ömma som om kvinnan bara föddes till att lipa över egna olyckor genom sårbarhetens öden. Varför får då inte kärlek vara endast kärlek och i fred? Det är som om det hänsynslösa samhället och världen inte kunde tåla kärlek utan att bestraffa den. Som om den måste straffas blott för att den vågar existera. Det är kanske höjden av allt livets orättvisa att dess upphov kärleken skall alltid vara det mest straffade av allt. De bästa vännerna till minne vi närmar ju oss allhelgona, Aurelio Lanciai, Hubert Evert, Bernt Lindholm och Nils Sondefors, som fortfarande finns kvar här på Poeteressi. De bästa vännerna är de som gör sig påminda ännu efter döden. Det kan synas som ett cyniskt och sarkastiskt konstaterande att de bästa vännerna är vänner som är döda, men det verkar faktiskt vara sanningen. Skall man då skräda sanningen för att den är obehaglig? Aldrig, tvärtom, den måste föras fram och desto mer ju mera obehaglig den är. Det följer med mig ännu, mina bästa vänner, min far i sin totala måttlighet i allt. Min barndomsvän, ett ideal av grannhet och av godhet, som gick under i en cancer som missköttes av hans läkare. Min broder invaliden, överkörd som barn, som blev den främsta levnadskonstnären av alla. Och min ryske vän, den störste humoristen, alltid lika rolig och uppfriskande i överlägsen sundhet, som gick under som Vysotsky genom självförbrukning. Fastän de är borta är det mera levande än nog de flesta människor jag känner, som om det att de gick bort för tidigt beseglade och etablerade en vänskap mer definitiv än evigheten. The best friends, your best friends are those who keep in touch still after death. It might appear a shameless and sarcastic statement that the best friends are your dead friends, but it seems in many ways to be the truth. Should we avoid the truth, then, for its inconvenience? Never. On the contrary, it must be carried forth and brought the more out in the open for its inconvenience, the more disagreeable it is. They are there still and with me, my best friends, my father in his paragon of excellence and temperance, my childhood friend, ideal in handsomeness and goodness, terribly mistreated for his cancer by his doctors, My goldsmith brother, driven over as a child and made an invalid for life, who nonetheless became the greatest expert on the art of living. And my Russian friend, the greatest humorist, always funny and refreshing in his sound superiority, who went under like Vysotsky from intensity of self-consumption. Although they are gone, to me they still are more alive than probably most people that I know, as if the fact that they went out too early established and confirmed a friendship more definite and stable than eternity. Tomorrow and tomorrow, washed up by the consequences of adversities and trials, devastating losses and excruciating melancholy, it is difficult to find one's feet again, indeed, if there at all is anything to stand on. I can only think of the consuming ague of a broken heart with no one for a comfort, like alone in space, in darkness, without anyone to hear the screams of your extreme despair, with only utter coolness for an answer in dead calm, and nothing actually has really happened. You are still the same, and you are there. Your life, as always, is at hand and full of force, as nothing really ever happens, changes, or has any meaning. Call it Buddhist calmness and nirvana, if you like, but I would call it the persistent constancy of nature, where all conflicts, wars, and cataclysms will ever be no more than passing storms in coffee cups. So take it easy and remain, and call it good whatever happens to you, and you will survive, to face tomorrow yet another glorious day. Venus, arising from the foam of storms and ocean billows of the night, you rise in glory to astound the world and drown it in your beauty overwhelmingly, and what is more, not temporarily, but in a lasting, dazzling spell forever, since your beauty is of that extraordinary kind that never ages, fades, or vanishes. And am I proud to be your chosen lover, servant, thrall, depictor, and companion, following your trail wherever and supporting it in absolute transcendent loyalty and faith, as any artist ardently devoted to his work of outstanding ideal creation, with sustained unending adoration for a glorious harmonious accompaniment to constantly enhance your beauty, adding to your everlasting realm of love. Diana, goddess of virginity, of purity and freedom, roaming in the wilderness to care for nature, favouring all animals and hunting with them, you became the basis for all ancient mysticism, with shrines in every sacred grove, for the sanctification and respect of life. The queen of virtue and the mistress of integrity, you were indomitable and inviolable, as the guardian supreme of health and freedom. Nothing is more holy than Dame Nature, and you were her impersonification, and will eternally remain so, an ideal of chaste and sovereign liberty, commanded by respect and discipline in the supreme, imperishable beauty of superiority, in health and soundness, sport and perfect freedom. Athena, goddess of wisdom, friend of Odysseus, guide and provider, the friend and protector of civilization, thy force is the mission of knowledge, of quality, insight and competence, mastership and education, the queen and protector of academism, universities, and every kind of spiritual accomplishment. You were never seen without helmet, and that is your mark of protection and vigilance against barbarity, ignorance, and the intrusion of stupid destruction, disorder, and anarchy. Never abandon us in our vulnerability, because civilization, philosophy, and spirituality, is always exposed to the forces of ignorance, the meaninglessness of brutality, and the insane weakness of violence. Guard us and save us, Athena, in vigilance and the protection of spiritual growth. Hera, hail Mother of the gods, the female ruler of Olympus, the mistress of the heavens and the troubled wife of Zeus, the most impossible of husbands. Somehow you can keep him in control, however, although not without some jealous persecutions of his nymphs and chosen victims, ending almost all of them in tragedy. If Zeus is the loose hand of Olympus, flinging thunderbolts and following his whims, you are the firm hand holding it together, and with success, since your family holds out and remain in loyal fealty, sticking to each other in good faith, in spite of all controversies and conflicts. You are a brave and stalwart goddess, whose beauty and strong character none can deny, but bravest above all are you, for sticking it out and enduring it with Zeus. Demeter, mother of the earth, the caring goddess of all living things, the chief protector of all cultivation, welfare and expansion of all nature, you are piety itself, but also sorrow, searching for a ravished child forever, and indulging in your sorrow, wetting earth with tears, to make it grow the more and give good harvests. No life service being more indulging than to cry for sorrow in sincerest love. But you are also guardian and protector of all harvests, making wheat grow, starving off starvation, as you are the farmer's goddess above all, perhaps the most important, vital and constructive, as no humankind can live and prosper without food, of which you are the universal and unique provider. So desist not, motherhood, to care for us, and we shall always turn to you in maximized and our sincerest piety and gratitude for the existence of our freedom maintained and supported only by your nature. Hestia. This was published here before, but she fits well in as the conclusion to these hymns to the 6 goddesses of ancient Greece. She was the only one of the Hellenic gods never to be depicted. Her symbol was instead the hearth. The unknown goddess, almost never made a statue of, a silent, modest background figure, staying quietly at home, and may be the most vital and important of all gods and goddesses, for doing nothing but just being there at home in coziness, with warmth and candour by the fireplace, just keeping up the homely standard order, keeping clean and making the home comfortable. What could possibly be more important than the very base of life, a home to be at ease with and to be at home in? Still, she never made much noise, no scandals, no atrocities, no arguments, no love affairs, just being there as the continuous stability, the comfort of just being there at peace and keeping up the basics as the only ground for the existence of all humankind. Some mysteries of love. The strangeness of love is that it can have no finish. Once you love, it never ends, but must be constant in continuation, or it is not love. It also must embrace not just your love, but everything she is and does, her thoughts, considerations, and creations, since your love is that especial force inspiring her to creativity. Thus love spreads like the rings of water, never to dry up, but always to continue, spreading further and expanding ever, to miraculously end, to only start again, a gracious circle, ever coming back to you for you to please yourself by starting it again. Rejuvenation. What a miracle to see you fresh again, after an eternity of some tumultuous decades, of divorces, dramas, traumas, and upheavals, all reduced to nothing in an instant, since you were so totally unchanged, as if our 40 years, by some strange miracle, were reduced to but a moment's time out of eternity, at once returning to our youth and giving us a new eternity and lifetime of no end. How shall I handle this new totally surprising love, so generously brought by fate and fortune, undeserved and unexpected, but the more sincerely welcome for its heavenly and overwhelming grace that must completely fill me up with boundless joy and energy and a new life for you, my love, our common memories and all those friendships that we shared together. Stay by me and don't desert me once again. Our divorce was much too long and all too painful to bear any repetition and to be supported or endured, since we have been through far too much already not to finally deserve each other. Reunion. My love to you is like some service of divinity, completely voluntary and in character religious, since religion actually brought us together and kept us united for some time in service until nature brought on a divorce of destiny to almost last a lifetime, an eternity of limbo, while we were the gadgets of our destiny to play with and to handle roughly, teaching us some karmic lessons about life, relationships, and how we always must return to basics, to ourselves and to our origin, how we were created, and to our debts to those who made our lives and beings possible. And thus we always have our piety to stick to, which has always followed us like guardian angels, for protection against worldly troubles and deceits, to always stick to ourselves and to our truth of character, of truth, and of our obligations to ourselves, our families, and to our plights and duties, wherein we shall always find each other for our warmth and comfort, inspiration and protection, in our love, the secret of our lives, for no one can live without love, which is the key to life and to eternity, which only can be handled by the means of loyalty. So here we are again, referred to one another, as if our love as children in all innocence was powerful enough to last for all our lives and keep us well protected in eternity. The vital flow of tears, your eyes must never dry. They were made for tears, to make them flow and stay alive, for as long as possible and all your life at least. But some tears last forever, and they are the true life-giving tears, the flow of which keeps flooding all the world, maintaining oceans, watering the earth, to make it flourish, bloom, and stay alive. And all those tears are not of sorrow only. Call them rather pity and compassion, maybe even piety, if not commiseration, which is what is keeping life alive in constant crisis, struggle for survival, never-ending anguish for the threat of constant death, the worries of the obligations of maintenance, which is actually the motor energy of life, the sentimental melancholy of the self-effacing Godhead, that divine and universal source of life that we shall never know or understand, but for the fact that he keeps crying all the time to keep the world and universe alive from pure and piteous commiseration. Between ourselves, I don't want to let you go. It is with absolute reluctance that I am without you, and that you are with me all the time, although but virtually, is not enough, but merely the poorest remedy for our separation. Our love is unique and must needs entertainment, like an art or language that must rust if you don't use it. And I don't want any end to our engagement, as we already were separated far too long. Love is like a stormy visit out of paradise, turning everything completely upside down, but positively, like some heavenly enforcement, leaving you in turmoil until things calm down, which you don't want them to, since you enjoy the passion. Let it be, let it continue and go on forever, and I shall enjoy the storm and relish it, and make the best of it through all the trials, suffering with gladness and enduring anything for you, since you are you and I am here to love you. The distance trauma. It results in terrible ordeals of abstinence, since usually those that you love the most and would most eagerly be in close contact with are farthest out of touch and most impossible to reach, which must inevitably lead to tribulations, most atrocious sufferings, and insufferability at large. And what is worse, it is a kind of problem that, once it's there, you can't get rid of it. But what is distance then to love? Love neutralizes and dissolves dimensions. Thought transcends and is superior to matter. Nothing can inhibit thought or keep it within limitations, even less so when, as usually is the case, it is propelled and motivated and kept flying by the basic force of life called love, which is the one thing, maybe, that exceeds the speed of light. You can control thoughts, concentrate them, guide them, but when they are moved by love, there's nothing that can stop them. Distances, like all dimensions, suddenly become nonsensical, as trivial nonentities to be ignored and bypassed, while your love is all that matters, keeping you and life alive and constituting all the nourishment for your immortal universal soul. The problem of rights. Being right is more important than to force your right. The Tibetans, being under occupation now since more than 60 years, oppressed by tyranny, bereft of their own land and independence, having had their culture almost extirpated and demolished, putting fire to themselves in desperate suicidal protest, are completely right, while the Chinese, insisting on their tyranny, are hopelessly completely wrong for all their overbearing, dominating violence, in which nothing morally can save them. The dogmatic church and other such monotheistic institutions have for some millennia hounded, persecuted, and put freethinkers to death, while these were in the right, the martyrs, heretics and pagans, like Giordano Bruno and Jan Hus, Jeanne d'Arc, and all the executed witches, while the executioners of Islam and the Church were hopelessly, completely wrong, and will be judged so for eternity, and there is nothing that can save them morally. The losers, martyrs, scapegoats, sacrifices, and all victims win eternity and will forever be atoned for and remembered, while their murderers, no matter how victorious they are, will lose forever and can never save their faces. They are damned, accursed forever, blighted and condemned, while those who were put to the stake and sacrificed will live forever and triumphantly, universally acknowledged and acclaimed as morally superior forever to those dogs who did them in which case there is nothing that can save them, moral victory and right outshining all the victories of gain and greed, which eventually must come to nothing, while there is no labor more rewarding than that of the moral power of the soul. Your enigma. The question is not who you are. No one can answer that question about herself, since your identity is everything and nothing. You can become whatever, make yourself whatever, be whoever, but at the same time be at a loss, aware of the black hole of your enigma, of your personality, and everything that makes you you, your heritage and what you were before your birth, the history about yourself, which cannot be researched, but still is there in manifest, imposing presence. I know that I am many people and can never be but one, so I devote myself to work to thus evade the problem, in a constant, desperate escape from any ego trip, and thus I can avoid the problem of my personality. Are you the same? You have a personality like me, but I don't know how you have handled it. If it ever was a problem to you, and that's maybe your enigma. I don't know you in the least and never shall. So we are free to be without ourselves together. Lost in love. It can happen to anyone, and it usually happens to us all. It is only natural to be lost in love and to stay that way indefinitely, paralyzed, transfixed, immobilized and powerless, while love is all that works and matters. There is nothing wrong with that. We actually were made for it, and it did produce us all. So just give in and go for it and make the best of it. Adorn your trap of love with your abilities. Indulge in all those moods of melancholy, longing, languishment, desire and frustration. If you can't beat reality, you have your dreams, which in your world will certainly beat everything, and your paralyzation will turn into fruitfulness. It's all a matter of let go. To make resistance is the height of foolishness, stupidity and folly, since you really have no choice but to follow your own nature guided by your love. The depths of love. Love will take on many forms, but none will ever be consummate. However, every form is good enough, whatever its expression, and can never be mistaken. Love is always recognized as love, even when its language is contempt and hate, which is why it's so important to interpret love correctly. That's the true art, seeing love behind it all, when that's the character behind it, masked and enigmatic, dark and puzzling, difficult to get the hang of or imposing, the art of understanding being the most difficult of arts and also the most necessary and advanced, which you will never, like with love itself, be able to be fully educated in. Livets förräderi. Vem har inte blivit sviken någon gång i livet, blivit överkörd, ställd inför rätta blotta villvilja, skrotad, våldtagen och likviderad, helt i onödan för ingenting, och vem kan tiga om sin plåga, vilket skrik kan hållas tyst i längden? Ingen klarar sig från detta fenomen och trauma som är allmänmänskligt. Ingen kommer undan livets orättvisa och dess grymma obarmhärtighet, som är som en naturlag. Du är född blott för att plågas, och medan du är född så får du stå ditt kast och finna dig i lidandet så länge som du lever. Allt vad man kan göra åt dilemmat är att leva och stå ut med att naturen har sin gång, och åtminstone då inte hålla tyst om saken, men helt enkelt vända motgångarnas prövningar i motsatt riktning genom att ge dem fritt utlopp genom harmens kreativitet. livets resignation. Omkring 20 år så tål man ännu vad som helst. Vid 30 vill man gärna ha en egen säng att sova i. Vid 40 känner man behovet av en egen bostad. När man fyller 50 börjar ambitionerna bli mindre viktiga. Vid 60 har man redan börjat trappa ner. Vid 70 kan man acceptera pensioneringen. När man är 80 år så är man nog på säkra sidan av sitt liv. Vid 90 börjar det bli dags att tänka på refrängen. Och vid 100 är det dags att börja om igen. Nollställd. Naken har du fötts till världen och naken är din själ för resten av ditt liv. De kläder som du får är för att kyla dig och dölja din ofrånkomliga nakenhet. Och så blir hela livet bara en förklädnad, en förkonstlad maskerad av bara tillgjordhet och masker och hyckleri för döljandet av sanningen som alltid ska förbli en ömklig nakenhet. Men även själva kroppen är blott en maskering, en robot som du styr, en automat att lura världen med, ett medel för bedrägeri och lyckligtvis en dödlig lögn. Du själv är någonting helt annat, nämligen din nakna själ, vars nakenhet är sådan att den lyckligtvis ej någonsin behöver synas och du till och med kan komma undan med den när du dör. At 0. Naked you were born to earth, and naked shall your soul remain for all your life. The clothes you get for your protection and for the cover of your nakedness are only a disguise for all your life, an artificial masquerade of only lying masks to cover up the truth, which always shall remain pathetically naked. But your body also is but a disguise, a robot and contraption to deceive the world with, a means for faking vanities and fortunately a most mortal lie. You yourself are something different, namely your own naked soul, the nakedness of which is such that fortunately it can never be detected, so that you can even get away with it and take it with you when you die.